Hello, hello, hello. Okay, I think we are live. Hey, everybody, what's up? Dane here from Moving to Canada. Going solo today to bring you guys the latest Express Entry news. We just had another Express Entry draw take place. That's the second Express Entry draw of this week. And this one, as expected, was restricted to candidates in the Canadian Experience class. But it was a big draw. The score has dropped. Lots of exciting news to bring to you guys, especially if you are a CEC candidate. But as always, I'm just going to give it a minute for some people to join. As you can see, I'm wearing my cozy Canadian winter attire right now. I'm cozy in this big East Coast lifestyle hoodie because it's quite chilly here in Nova Scotia. But I am repping the East Coast, and I am definitely staying cozy. I've got a fire on in the fireplace in the room next door, so things are pretty good here. Let me know if you guys are watching, where you're tuning in from. Always curious to hear where our community members are watching from, and as always, if you've got any questions, if there's anything you'd like to know about the draw results or anything you'd like to know about Canadian immigration more generally, please drop your questions into the comments. We'll come back and try to answer a couple of your questions here at the end. But I see we've got more than 50 people in here now, so I think you guys probably want to get to the meat of the matter, which is the Express Entry draw results from today. So I've just pulled up our Express Entry draw reporting on the Moving to Canada website. So as you'll see, today's draw, this is I'm recording this on Thursday, January 21st. Today's draw was restricted to candidates in the Canadian Experience class. As such, that means only people who have Canadian work experience that they've gained, that skilled work experience has been gained within the last 3 years, are eligible for this draw. There are a number of other criteria that you need to meet in order to qualify for the Canadian Experience class, but the Canadian work experience is generally the hardest to get. And in today's draw, we saw a massive draw take place. So it was another 4,626 invitations issued today. Seems like a bit of an odd number, but if you add it to the 374 invitations issued yesterday, it adds up to 5,000 total for the week. And that's what we saw 2 weeks ago as well. It's what we saw, it was just one draw, but back in December and November, they were doing 5,000 per draw. So now they seem to just be breaking it up and doing 5,000 split between PNP and CEC. And the big news here, the CRS score cutoff has dropped significantly for Canadian Experience class candidates. It's dropped down to 454 points. So that is a drop of 7 points, I believe, from the last draw 2 weeks ago when we saw it up at 461 points. So that's a pretty substantial drop, 7 points in a single draw. It's a great trend if you're a CEC candidate who's been sitting in the 460s, 450s, hoping you'll get an invite. It's good news for you that we've gone back to this sort of program specific approach. Let me see if we've got any questions coming in here. So we have had a lot of people asking us, when are they going to get back to FSW draws, or when are they going to get back to considering candidates in all programs? And the honest answer is, and we wrote it here in the piece, there's no official information as to when candidates from other programs, including the Federal Skilled Worker Program, will once again be considered in draws. We don't know if this is a temporary thing. They're just doing it for January. They could go back to FSW draws, as early as next month, early February. Or they could keep doing this for a little while. We do know that in the early days of the pandemic, back in March, April, May, June of 2020, of last year, when the borders were closed and a lot of Canadian cities had restrictions in place, at that time they did these CEC PNP draws consistently for a couple of months. So Canada's in the middle of its second wave right now. A lot of places are struggling to contain that. We're not sure if this could be linked to that. What I can tell you is that we monitor IRCC for any updates. So if we do get any information that will tell us, when FSW draws might return, we will definitely let you guys know. But the best we can say right now is, just keep on watching our feed, because we will post any updates if and when they become available. And I'll just pull open the list of recent draws here so you can see the latest results. You'll see the last 4 draws, all 4 from 2021, have been program specific, CEC or PNP draws. And if we scroll back, you'll see a whole bunch of those that took place. All of those was the same sort of alternation through March, April, May, and June of last year. So I wish that I could tell people with a bit of confidence, what to expect coming up. But unfortunately, we just don't have that information, and things are in a bit of a state of flux right now here. So I'm going to close that reporting window, bring it back to just me. And let's see if we've got some questions coming in here that we can answer. So Amardeep has questions about their work permit. Amardeep, ask your questions. If I can answer them, I'll give a attempt at answering them, but put them in there soon, because the video is not going to last forever. And then Shane is asking, have the IEC pools opened yet? So IEC is a completely separate program from Express Entry. It's for youth from about 35 participating countries who want to work temporarily in Canada. And the 2021 season for IEC has been delayed due to COVID. Shane, at this point, we have no further updates as to when the IEC 2021 season is going to open. Nothing new has come to light over the past couple of weeks. We know just as much now as we did in November. Again, we monitor that for updates. I can tell you that Canada has just extended its international travel restrictions by another month until at least February 21st. So it seems like they're not planning on relaxing the border restrictions at any time in the near future, which probably has some impact on IEC. But again, that could change. We'll keep monitoring it and let you know. And Aziz is asking, can you please explain this a little bit better for me? So I can do a bit of an explanation for the Canadian Experience class, since that was today's program that was specified. So I've got our Canadian Experience class guide here, and you can get all this information on the Moving to Canada website. That's movingtocanada.com, same as our Facebook name, the number 2, movingtocanada.com. And so you'll see the Canadian Experience class. It's one of the Express Entry aligned programs. And the main feature here, the main requirement, is that it's for individuals who have worked in Canada for at least 1 year. That has to be skilled work experience, and it has to be gained within the 3 years prior to applying. So skilled work experience means that it's work experience that's been gained at the National Occupational Classification, skill level of 0A or B. However, for Canadian Experience class, it can actually be in multiple NOC codes as long as they are all skilled. And there can be breaks between the work experience, just as long as it adds up to 12 months of full-time work experience gained within the 36 months or the 3 years prior to applying. And we got this cool video that we put together. It kind of explains Canadian Experience class in 3 minutes.
Hey everyone, I'm Dane from Moving to Canada, and in this video, I'm going to be explaining the Canadian Experience class.
So you guys can head over here and watch that video for yourselves if you want to. I'll pop the link to that in the comments section here. If you are looking for more info about Canadian Experience class. CEC info is here. So I just popped that right there in the comments. And I've got another question I see coming in from Julia. I'm going to read this one live. I got an ITA for CEC at 463, but with my spouse accompanying, my score is only 444. Should I wait? Is there any hope for that score, or go ahead with your ITA and skip your spouse? Well, I mean, that depends on if your spouse is accompanying you to Canada or not. If you're both in Canada, your spouse is probably going to be accompanying you. But if you're outside Canada and you want to travel on your own, that might be an option. You have to be very careful with Canadian immigration applications to always be honest and truthful about your intentions. And it can get a little bit tricky here with the intention of, having your spouse accompany or not accompany. You don't want to ever mislead Canadian immigration officials because that can cause some serious problems. Now, if you're looking for sort of official guidance on what to do, I'd actually recommend booking a consultation with a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. We've got a few that we recommend on the Move Into Canada website, people whose reputation be verified, so you can book a one-on-one consultation, do a 30-minute or a 60-minute consultation and talk through your concerns about including or not including your spouse on the application, as well as any concerns you might have about the required documentation for the ITA stage, which is quite a complex application to put together. There's a lot of documents and a lot of information you've got to include. And if you are missing any documents or include any of the wrong information on your final PR application at the ITA stage, they're pretty strict about that, and they'll almost always reject you without giving you a chance to address any of the issues. A couple other questions here. Atikal is asking, is Ielts mandatory for express entry? Approved language test is mandatory for express entry, and Ielts is the most popular approved language test. You can take one of the 2 approved tests for English or 2 approved tests for French. Ielts is the most popular. Even if you come from an English-speaking country, let's say you were born and raised in England, English is your first language, you still have to do a language test for express entry. It is mandatory. Tahinder is asking, are the points for the BC PNP going down? You can check. There was just a draw that they published yesterday. We have our PNP live tracker on the Move Into Canada website, and that will show you the results from the latest PNP draws, and there was just a BC draw, so you can check out the results there. I think it was 106 points was the cutoff for BC express entry skilled worker. But again, for people who aren't familiar with that, it's a separate program from express entry. It's a provincial nominee program operated by the West Coast province of British Columbia. Rita, to apply to CEC for express entry, it just works with skilled workers, right? I have 1.5 years of Canadian work experience, but I'm not at NOC level O, A, or B. I am at NOC skill level C. Yes, Rita, you are correct there. Unfortunately, you have to have skilled work experience in order to qualify under Canadian experience class. There are a handful of provincial nominee programs, depending on where you've gained your work experience and what province you're living in, that have PNP streams for certain NOC skill level C occupations, so it might be worth looking into that. But unfortunately for express entry, it does have to be skilled work experience. Great. So those are most of the questions we've had come in here today. Hopefully I've been able to adequately answer your questions, but if there's anything I haven't been able to answer, please feel free to write them in the comments. We'll try to come back and answer a couple of questions afterwards by text, just writing out our answers. One last thing that I did want to point out here, I've just put in the pinned comment for this video a link so that you can create a Move Into Canada account. I highly recommend, if you haven't yet created a Move Into Canada account, that you do so. You gain access with that account. The account is free, and you gain access to a ton of free resources. Things like our Canadian resume template that will help you format your resume in the format that Canadian employers are looking for. We've got our Express Entry roadmap in there. It's a free email education service, so if you're not totally familiar with Express Entry, sign up for that. You get one email to your inbox every day for a week, so 7 lessons. And by the end of that, you'll have a sort of comprehensive knowledge of Express Entry and understand if it's a good option for you, as well as Getting Started guide, which is this sort of PDF guide that we just updated for 2021 is in there. All of that stuff is free. All you have to do is click that link in the pinned comment and create your Move Into Canada account to access all of that. Great. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll give a quick recap of the draw results for people who missed it up at the beginning. We had an express entry draw for Canadian experience class candidates take place earlier today, Thursday, January 21st. Only CEC candidates were considered. There were 4,626 ITAs issued, and the minimum CRS score cutoff continued to plummet. It went down to 454 points in today's draw. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure you stay tuned to our feed. Probably in about 2 weeks, we'll have the next draw take place, and of course, we will go live to bring you those draw results and analysis. See you next time.